Entrepreneurship is hard, so let's fix that and dive into our heroes' journeys. This is Taking Flight, an entrepreneur's journey, and I'm Sarah Tourville. Join me as we delve deep into the passions, expertise, and experiences of those already in flight. This show is sponsored by EO Atlanta.
Welcome to the EO Atlanta Taking Flight podcast. I am your guest host, Ethan King. I'm a 10-year EO member and past president of EO Atlanta. Today we have a super special guest. She is a global communications leader, having led campaigns across 3 continents. She's helped thousands of small, mid, and enterprise-level technology brands achieve extraordinary growth. She's a British-born entrepreneur who has grown and run her agency across the world, but she calls Atlanta home. A Forbes agency contributor, top 100 elite agency owner. She's the board communication chair for EO Atlanta, and she is our illustrious podcast host. Give it up for founder and CEO of Frenzy, Sarah Tourville. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ethan. Oh my gosh, it's great to be here. It's great to be here on the other side. I'm excited to have this conversation today.
Yeah, I'm so glad we're getting a chance to finally learn more about you. You've been interviewing so many entrepreneurs over the years with the EO podcast, and now we get to learn more about you and your story and what makes you tick. So I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be good.
All right. So Sarah, what did you get right when you first took your flight into your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, I love this question because we come out of the gate straight away with like real truth. And hopefully some learnings. And what did I get right? For me, and I see this in a lot of other entrepreneurs too, and I truly believe in it, is that when you recognize that your skill set is also your passion. And so for me, I went into business knowing that I was an avid communicator. And I truly believe in the power of communications. And when I realized I could actually turn that capability into, creating an agency and creating a business, and then coupling that with my curiosity for, languages, and travel and seeing how the world kind of ticks in different countries, I was able to bridge the international curiosity with my communications capability. And so what I got right is that I and it plays out every day, is that when you love what you do, which I do, that tenacity and that self-confidence is what drives you through every day and even the difficult times. So I think I got it right to choose something that I was truly passionate about. And I think it's sometimes feels easy to say, okay, I'm going to go into business and I'm going to do this. I'm going to try and make money. But, days come when it becomes challenging and difficult. And so if that love isn't there for what you do, if that tenacity is not completely built, within you for your purpose, I think many entrepreneurs fail. So, just that constant kind of confidence in myself and passion for what I do. Definitely got that right.
Yeah. Well, I want to dive into that a little bit deeper. Like, where did that come from? Give me a glimpse into your origin story and the origin of Frenzy, which I think is a super cool business name, by the way.
Thank you. It came from, I've been exposed to doing some, working on some amazing global PR campaigns when I was with Expedia, and when I was with Motorola. And it's funny, I was 26 years of age, and my first day on the job with Motorola, I was on a flight to Turkey.
Oh.
And we were doing a press conference in the mountains, 5 hours outside of Istanbul, Ankara, that was the name of the town. And so I got to witness through Motorola and through Expedia, literally, like, what does it mean when you're trying to build a brand and share a story with an audience which is like non-American. And so I got to witness that, and honestly, it just completely opened up my eyes to just to the opportunities and the challenges that brands go through when they're trying to build a brand in multiple markets and the nuances they have to take into account. And so that got me very excited. And I was, and it just worked so well because I'd studied international marketing management in France and in London. And so it just everything kind of started to shape together. And I started to see what a frenzy truly meant. And I'm going to go into that a little bit more later on in our conversation, but it kind of ignited my spark for international marketing and all the challenges that brands have to go through to kind of, really tell their story with conviction. So yeah, and that's why Frenzy is around today to do just that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's cool. I can only imagine it. 26 going to Turkey. I just
Mhm.
came from Turkey when we came back from Singapore. That was my first time there.
Right.
I was in Istanbul, and how amazing. I can only
Right.
imagine like going as a 26-year-old and being exposed to that. Uh,
Yeah, it was amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, amazing and frightening, to be honest with you. I mean, I remember, I think a week later, I spent, I think, about 3 weeks in Prague. Then I went on to Dubai, and I couldn't understand how I got into this role. I was like, should I be doing this job? It feels a little bit, in some respects, it's like, especially being in I work in technology with technology brands, it was very male dominated. And
Mm,
there I was,
yeah.
little Sarah, like, trying to do something pretty incredible. And I loved it. I loved it.
That's so cool. So, Sarah, who are or who were your co-pilots on this journey?
Hmm. So I have to say my father's very humble and he would say it wasn't him, but he's definitely been my co-pilot.
Oh,
He was a very successful businessman in the banking technology space. And actually he got me interested in technology because he was doing payment technology 30 years ago in the Middle East. And it was such a cutting edge technology. And so he would come home and show me these like different payment terminals. And it was unheard of that you would pay with a credit card using a payment terminal. And like business wasn't done that way. Transactions weren't done that way. So he's just always fired me up in terms of like business and international business and sales. And he's just a huge advocate for me. He's always telling me, just giving me advice. And he's about to turn 80 this year, and he's my go-to. Um, I have to say my husband because he's constantly there listening to the ups and the good and the bad and the ugly. But more recently it's been Dave McMullen. So my fairly new business partner. We just celebrated 1 year working together, but he is an incredible business partner and an incredible entrepreneur. And so him and I just constantly talking about, we're not trying to build an agency at Frenzy. We're trying to do something much more significant. And so we're constantly strategizing on what that looks like for our clients. So he is definitely someone who sits there side by side, day to day with me. So
that's
yeah, some
awesome.
great people around me.
Yeah. And Dave McMullen is also an EO Atlanta longtime member, former chapter president, and just an overall sharp and respectable gentleman. I have a lot
Hmm.
of respect for him.
I agree.
Just sharing that for our podcast listeners here.
Yes, and he's been on the podcast before. So
Check out his
check,
episode.
yeah, check out his episode exactly.
All right. So Sarah, what's a challenge that you and your team had to solve recently?
Yes. So a challenge we're still working through, but I'm learning all the time is so we are, we're trying to move into, well, we are already moving into working with much larger enterprise brands. And so I feel like the way in which we sell is different. It's just it's just a very sophisticated sell. And so I'm working with Sandler Training actually to really help me not feel like a typical salesperson. Like we're having I want to have very thought-provoking and sophisticated conversations with CMOs. And so the way you go about that is just it's a level up from what I've done before.
Mm,
And so I'm just, I'm learning, I'm getting advice, I'm doing their training, and I get constant coaching and mentorship from Sandler Training on how do you kind of start even that initial conversation or email exchange where you set yourself on a mutually respectful level as the CMO and as me as the CEO of Frenzy. Like how do you do that where you just you create and you earn that respect from the get-go. And so that is something that I'm working on, a whole series of initiatives of learning how to, take that first conversation all the way through to close, and then, even what that then looks like afterwards. And it's difficult. It's not, it's very different from selling to like small technology companies, because there's just a different level of sophistication. Not to say that there's anything wrong with small technology brands, because they are powerful, they are agile. But, when you're trying to get into larger businesses who have sophisticated people internally, you've got to know more than them. It will be able to help shape the pathway you want to help them grow into. So yeah, I'm learning that, and it's good, but it's challenging.
Yeah, and I love that, because that's what winners do. That's what entrepreneurs do. When we face a challenge that we haven't encountered before, we go and find the resources, right?
Hmm.
So I love how you found Sandler to help
Hmm.
you power up to
Yes.
achieve what you need to achieve.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, power up is our new theme for the EO year under Shawnee Goodwin's presidency that was just announced yesterday. So kind of an inside joke. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm wearing the new Power Up t-shirt, but that is what Sarah is doing to overcome any challenges or adversities. She found a solution to power up and get
Yeah.
through that.
Yeah.
So Sarah, what's
Definitely.
a piece of advice you can offer for others facing this type of challenge?
Well, what I've learned from it is very much about, again, self-belief and confidence, when you're selling, and not, I think there's maybe an old school mindset. I know I had it, that when you think that of selling, sometimes it feels dirty, it feels crude, because it's like at the end of the day, there's a money exchange you want to happen, but it's like, so I have a note on my computer in front of me which says, I could be the best phone call they receive all day.
Mm,
So thinking about it, when you're actually calling a prospect, stop thinking that you might be wasting someone's time. Think about it more that actually, this could be the best phone call they receive, because you can help solve a significant problem for them.
yeah.
And and I think that's so important to remember, because people shy away. I mean, and again, what I'm doing with Sandler is not just cold calling at all. There's many other areas around, upfront contracts, and just there's so much to selling that I hadn't even realized. Um, but again, it's just knowing that you are there to solve a problem. You bring huge amounts of value. You are not wasting anyone's time. So, that would be definitely some advice I want to give to anyone, is that, again, remember, you are actually giving value, and,
Yeah.
and take that forward.
That's a great philosophy, because say it can feel dirty, like that used car salesman or that
Mhm.
telemarketer, and you can sense when that person is just all in it for themselves and it's a selfish transaction, versus when someone like you is calling to genuinely help
Mhm.
me with
Mhm.
something, or to teach me, or to serve. Like I can feel that through the
Mhm.
phone,
Mhm.
and it lights a person up and does make them it does brighten up their day.
Yeah,
So totally flip the whole sales call thing on its head by taking that approach, more of an outward service
exactly.
approach. That's great.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Sarah, what's your favorite book that you're reading right now?
I have such a long list of books I'm like, no, I need to read. And so I'm normally reading two or three at the same time. And I'm big into Audible, because I'm driving from Milton to Buckhead most
Yeah.
days. So okay, there's two books. There's one book which I think is a storytelling book, which has so much meaning around tenacity, which is Shoe Dog by Philip Knight.
So good. Yeah.
So good. And if anyone doesn't know, Philip Knight is the owner of Nike, and his story is, you kind of think, oh, Nike, yeah, look, okay, that's a brand which is so significant, which it is. But I think he spent 10, 15 years in the early stages, like literally, I mean, every signal he had was really to kind of close up and stop doing this. But
Yeah.
again, coming back to what I said at the very beginning of this podcast, when you have self-belief and passion in what you do and tenacity, that's exactly what got him through it.
Yeah.
So I listen to that just to remind me, because there are many days you think like, oh my God, why is this so difficult? Why, but again, going back to what you believe in and what you think you're good at. And so Shoe Dog is amazing, but it's a story. And I love the story element to it. And it's real. The other one is Joey Coleman, Never Lose a Customer. We just had Joey join our EO forum last week. And what an incredible, insight he provides on the touch points needed to keep a customer. And it just that some of the statistics are incredible that I think something like if you Google search how many books there are on the topic of selling and marketing, there's like millions. But if you Google search how many books there are on like retaining a customer and customer experience, it's like 30,000. So it's like we spend so much time about winning a client, and we spend hardly any time thinking about how do we retain a client. And he says, like, imagine what your business would look like if you'd never lost a customer ever. Just think how much bigger your business would look like. So it's, again, that to me was just like, wow. And I'm so at Frenzy, we're just trying to do a lot right now on, retention and growth with your existing customers. So Never Lose a Customer by Joey Coleman is phenomenal. So
I love his 100-day plan. And we had Joey come and do a workshop with us in EO Atlanta, maybe a couple of years ago, 1 or 2 years ago. And it was a highly rated event. And I still refer to his workbook for my current business and my new business. And here's a quick hack. I made a GPT in Chat GPT. I created a custom GPT with Joey Coleman's framework in it. And then I put my business information in through the lens of Joey Coleman's framework. It gave me a 100-day plan for my new business. And that's a great way to apply his concepts.
I love that. That's a hack. I'm going to definitely do the same. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. And Shoe Dog, a classic book. I believe every entrepreneur should read that because he, like, for such a long time, small, struggling business, could have went out of business if he didn't have the tenacity, like you mentioned. But obviously Nike is a household name, and what an inspirational story. And then it was fun to watch the movie Air and the Michael Jordan story, and kind of contrast that with the book, and you see how they represented Phil Knight. Just an awesome story. Super inspiring.
I've not seen the movie. I need to do that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try and finish the book and then go watch that. But yeah. If anyone ever feels like they just need an injection of reality and and to realize that when there's lack of self-belief, listen to the book by Phil Knight, because again, it just shows you that it can be achieved for sure.
Yeah. Like you say in the intro to this podcast, entrepreneurship is hard.
Yeah.
So it's good to listen to these stories of people overcoming the challenges and getting to the other side. Love that.
Yeah.
So Sarah, what excites you about the future?
I'm excited about the approach that Frenzy brings to B2B technology brands. We are really trying to solve a problem, which I believe that we're extremely close to fulfilling, around, like, first of all, creating a frenzy and what that truly means, but more importantly, how you measure it. And there's been a challenge for as long as PR has been around for, which is, PR is my background. It's definitely what my discipline was for many years. PR is very difficult to measure, and so what happens is businesses, do PR, and then, they get to a point, they're like, well, this is great. I've got all this coverage, but what is it doing for my business? And when you can't measure it, you justify it. And, so that's been a constant pain for me as somebody who loves the discipline and wants to serve and provide that to businesses. So with what Dave and I are doing, yes, we are a service business. We use some great technology stacks, but we feel like the approach that we are bringing to large enterprises allows the entire integration of marketing and PR to be measured throughout. And for PR to no longer sit in silo on its own and be regarded as that area that you cannot measure. And so that is very exciting, because I think it changes a mindset. And we're seeing, real smart companies with, a desire to build a phenomenal brand literally look like wide-eyed when we're talking to them about what we're suggesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, we've won some clients where we're now doing that. We're now showing them what that entire buyer's journey looks like and how marketing and PR together can literally kind of take people along, but all be measured together, and it's powerful.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be significant. And I think, um,
that's huge.
yeah, it's
That's
huge. It's
I mean,
huge.
yeah, and coming from the other side as a business owner, that is the hesitation when it comes to certain forms of marketing. It's like, oh, I can't measure the
Yeah.
ROI on that. So sometimes when you're a small business and you're scrappy, you're
Mhm.
looking at the budget, people can be hesitant to invest in that type of marketing.
Mhm.
But it's very innovative for you guys at Frenzy to have taken that and like, no, you actually can measure it, and
Yeah.
you have a system for that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It is awesome. And it's really nice, and it's reaffirming when, we've had some really, really good calls in the last few weeks, on Zoom with some people. Um, and many of them are sitting in a PR role, and you can tell that it gets worrisome when you are in that discipline, which is not, PR is not invested in itself. PR is not has not, invested like marketing has. Marketing can be measured in there's so much data, it's actually overwhelming. PR is the opposite. So now when you're coming to these PR professionals and you're saying, actually, you now have a way of actually driving the brand strategy and all the marketing from a PR perspective and demonstrating the relevance of PR within the entire cycle. It's like, it's just, like I say, it's very refreshing to see them like looking very excited about that. So,
Yeah.
I'm also excited because our brand, we're really, redefining our brand and what we look like. And there's this, it's not, it's something, getting Frenzy, getting the meaning of Frenzy and what it represents right in the buyer's mind is something we take very seriously as well. So again, and credit to Dave and our creative team. There's this constant kind of strategizing on that. So there's new things coming through from Frenzy, new look and feels are coming out. So I'm excited to get that out there.
Yeah. I love it. Well,
Mhm.
it's all about the journey and the destination. So, what is the destination for you and for Frenzy? Where are you headed?
That's a great question. I mean, we're headed for a lot of growth. Um, we are thinking, how do we even bring other companies into the Frenzy fold? What does that look like?
Hmm.
Recognizing where maybe we're not as strong in some areas and where we need to be. And so, who is out there, which could be just really good partners or even something more formal than that. So, so that's exciting. Um, we are looking to do a lot more, going back to my roots, a lot more international initiatives and campaigns. I mean, we do run campaigns for brands in multiple countries, and we use partners to do that, which I have like worked, established like several years, more than several years ago, more 5 to 10 years ago. So really great partners in, for example, in the UK and France, Germany and Spain, and Brazil too. So we want to do more of that because that again is brings the vision of Frenzy to life too. It's like the international element really kind of like that's the piece which we're really strong at. And actually a lot of our team are not they're American, but they've lived in other countries. Like for example, Elizabeth spent time in Bologna, Luis in Lebanon. We got a very international team, so we're able to kind of think beyond an American mindset. And brands want to hear that.
Yeah, yeah. Especially in today's world, where we exist beyond borders in a post-pandemic society, is even more important. So, great place to be in.
Yeah, yeah,
So, Sarah, we've
yeah.
talked about your business and the origins of your business, but who are you? Who is the real Sarah Tourville?
The real Sarah Tourville. Um, who am I? I mean, I'm a very proud mother of two daughters, Helena and Amelia. And yeah, so I don't know, I'm a mother first. That sounds ridiculous, but like I'm like very happy to be a mom. But I've always been a mother, which has worked actually. And they've seen that journey with me. And it's funny, sitting in my desk right now, I can see all the colorings my kids did when they were younger of Frenzy. I mean, they used to like they were building my brand at the same time I was. So And so in many respects, I mean, like, yes, I'm their mother, but I'm also their guide into, building independence and self-belief. And so I try and instill that in them, and they are turning out to be very strong, independent women, which to me is my number one goal and ambition. I'm just also somebody who I'm very it's funny, my key word for myself in some of the, I can't think what the program is called, but I'm an achiever. So, I'm the A achiever. It's like if I'm not, it's exhausting being an achiever. I don't think anyone should ever try and be an achiever, but unfortunately that's what I am, which means I'm always thinking about movement and growth. And like I say, that can get tiring, but it's just who I am. So I have a lot of energy, which is great. Sometimes I just wish it would slow down, but I'm on a pathway to, and even my involvement in EO, I absolutely love the organization. And last night we had the party, as you mentioned, of Shani coming in as president, and the people there, I just feel are my people. I mean, I think they hopefully feel the same about me. It's like, you're mixing with people who share similar values. And so I feel like I found like my second home with EO.
Yeah.
So, so I'm a combination of things. I love dogs. I love my family. My father, and my brother are in England, and I miss them a lot. But I'm a good communicator. So I just make sure we stay in touch, and I make the effort to travel a lot to see them.
Oh, that's great. And you are a good communicator. It's been a pleasure working with you on the board for the past couple of years and going into this year. Sarah and I were co-chairs for the communications role for EO Atlanta, and we'll be working together again this year as I'm moving into learning, but obviously we need to have a lot of communication about learning
Yes.
events. So pleasure to continue to work with you. You are an excellent communicator, and I admire that about you.
Thank you, Ethan. And vice versa. You are an excellent communicator too. Hence why we did comms together. Yeah.
So Sarah, if you were to do this all again, would you do it all over again?
I would. I think, yes, 100%. There are some caveats to that. I would have started 10 years earlier.
Hmm.
Yeah. Which, okay, you could give some reasons as to, well, maybe you didn't know enough 10 years earlier, but I used to feel frustrated, that I was, that I could have, like I said, I could have started it earlier. And I think Frenzy would be further along. But maybe I would not have known enough. So yeah, I would definitely do it again. I think my main overarching reason for doing it again is those leadership qualities I feel like I teach in my children. So Frenzy has so many benefits to it, but ultimately it's been able to really kind of shape my family. And so for that reason, I would do it over and over again. Yes.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on the EO Atlanta podcast, and I would love to know, how long have you been an EO member now?
4 years.
4 years. Okay.
Mhm.
So what has been the ROI, the return on investment of EO for you?
That's an easy one. The main one at the very top is I met Dave McMullen through EO. And I mean, and I will, every day, I think him and I say it to each other every day. It's like, that was a good decision. Like, it was a good decision when we decided to become partners. So if it wasn't for EO, Frenzy would not be where it is right now. Um, and just again, it's knowledge mainly. It's knowledge. I'm just learning all the time. Again, I wouldn't have known about Sandler training. I wouldn't have known about Never Lose a Customer by Joey Coleman. It brings all that knowledge. And I don't know how business or entrepreneurs do it if you don't surround yourself with knowledge and teachings and insight. So the ROI, I don't even measure it anymore because it's like, I feel like it's literally it just constantly comes, constant.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about that, Ethan?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been such a, over the past 10 years. Yeah, don't measure it. I always renew because I'm like, I get so much the connections around the world. It's not just the Atlanta chapter. That's amazing. But connections around the world, the exclusive once in a lifetime experiences that we do.
Yeah.
And even last night, the way we took over Spaceman at the on the roof overlooking Atlanta, just the way
Amazing.
that we do things in
Yeah.
EO has always had a special place in my heart. And it
Hmm.
can get lonely as an entrepreneur. So, having our tribe, finding your tribe and sticking to your tribe. I mean, these are some of my closest friends in
Yeah.
EO because we understand the struggles that each of us go through and we can celebrate the wins as well. And a lot of
Mhm.
times, let's face it, we can't share some of our wins with the general public. They may not relate to it or there may be some
Yeah.
resentment, but you
True.
can share comfortably the good and the bad in EO, and there's
Hmm.
no judgment. There's always trust and respect. And, we all have a thirst for learning. So,
Hmm.
yeah, can't imagine my life without EO. It's definitely
No.
changed.
Yeah. Exactly how I feel.
Yeah. So I know we've talked about the dogs, the travel, the family. Curious, what else do you do for fun outside of work?
Um, sounds so boring to probably most people, but I love Orange Theory.
Oh,
Just
it's great.
like,
Yeah.
it's funny. That's another thing in my life. It just feels like it's a it's I love it. I just for some reason I've been doing it now for 5 or 6 years, and again because I'm going back to that word achiever, I'm a little bit too active. Like I get in that room and I'm like I'm in my zone. Everything's orange, and it's like and I've got to get my splat points. And so it's probably boring. Sorry for so many people think, oh yeah, but I love Orange Theory.
Yeah.
And what else do I do? I mean, I like to travel a lot. Done a lot of that this year.
Mhm.
Um, and I want to go places which expand my mind always.
Yeah.
And I don't really like going back to the same places either.
Me neither.
So for me, a trip, so I just went to Bangkok and I wasn't that excited about going to Bangkok. So I hadn't heard the best things about it, but I found it so dramatically different. And there's so many amazing things about going into it. But again, unless it's really pushing where I'm feeling like, I don't want to feel like out of my comfort zone so much, but it needs to be pushing it. Then I don't feel that like the travel was as worthwhile as it could be. So I'm on the search for that.
Mm.
So yeah, I want to see the world. I worked out, I've only seen, I think about 18% of the world.
Mm.
Um, yeah, wouldn't it be nice to kind of get to 50%? I don't know. That's a goal.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I have a goal when it comes to travel as well, but I never thought about looking at it percentage wise. I count like the countries.
Yeah.
I've been, I don't know, 40 something, but I need to look at what percent that is. Maybe that's
It's
25% or
about 20,
something.
yeah, because
Yeah.
mine is, I think I'm on a 38 and I sat at something like 19%. And I was disappointed by that to think there's
Yeah.
80% of the world out there, which we have no idea about what it's about.
That's a great way to look at it because I mean, you just learn so much about seeing through the lens of other cultures and their
Mhm.
perspectives. It's not like reading about it or watching it on
No.
TV, but when you're there, you learn in a whole different way.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
Sarah, we have some travel to do.
We do,
We've been
Ethan.
to
That's
multiple
why
countries together, but we have a lot more ground to cover.
we do. That's exciting, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Sarah, this has been great. Can you tell us where can people find you?
Yeah. You can find my easiest way is Sarah with an H at frenzy.agency. So that's my email. I'd love to hear from anyone. Um, so please reach out. Also, frenzy.agency is our website. Very simple. And I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on all the channels, but LinkedIn's always good as well. So that's Sarah Tourville, Tourville. So
I
but
love it.
yeah, I'd love to hear from
Yeah.
anyone. And I just want to use this as, if you don't mind, Ethan, as an opportunity just to thank you for interviewing me. It's kind of nervous doing it the other way around, and it's good for me to see what our guests feel like when I'm interviewing them. But yeah, I appreciate that very much. And I enjoyed interviewing you. It was a while back now. I think it was like
Yeah.
it was last year, I think it was. So
Wow.
but thank you for taking on this challenge and interviewing me and doing a phenomenal job with it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and I'm glad we finally got a chance to learn more about you. I was thinking, oh, we want to know about Sarah. So thanks
Yeah.
for stepping up. It's been a great episode, and I think you have an announcement for us about season 3.
Yeah, so we are closing season 2 right now. So season 3, my goal is to shake it up. I'm not going to share exactly what that means yet. I'm still ideating with the team, but we just want to kind of open it up a little bit more, and really kind of consider, you know, just different ways of people telling their story, and us all getting extra value from it. So We hope to come back, the plan, around August, September timeframe, probably August. So watch the space. We'll be sharing news on EO Atlanta social platforms, but really appreciate everybody who's taken the time. It's amazing how many people make reference to this podcast. Just last night alone, I think about 4 people had made comments or they'd heard this person on the podcast. So this is honestly, this is meaningful. And I love the fact that people take the time to listen to it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for hosting and continuing to bring us connect. It serves multiple purposes, but it connects EO members together because we get a chance to learn more about each other in an asynchronous way. But then it also shares the goodness of EO with the public and with the world.
Mhm.
And I think those are two of the most important ground that it covers. And, it's good to take a break and come back and recharge after you have powered up. So we're looking forward to the Powered Up season 3 when you come back stronger than ever. We're super excited about that. So I want to thank you formally, Sarah, for sharing and going deep with us today. I would like to thank the audience. If you learned something today or if you laughed, please tell someone else about this podcast and have them subscribe. Please go on your favorite podcast app and leave us a 5-star review. And this has been great. Thank you again, Sarah. This has been another exciting episode of EO Atlanta's Taking Flight, and we'll see you in season 3.
Thank you, Ethan. And so that wraps up another episode. Thank you for joining. For show notes and other episodes, visit us at takingflight.live. For more information about EO Atlanta, visit eoatlanta.org. Special thanks to the following sponsors: